Hey y'all, it's the Southern Woods here, and sixth season is upon us. Winter is coming. We're all gonna have stuffy noses, coughs, battling the sickness, getting down with the sickness. So I thought it was fitting in this World War simulation, as all the countries are duking it out, to have an alliance of about 20 or so of the most well-known viruses, plagues, bacterium out there trying to take out humanity while a whole big world war is going on. So it's us versus each other versus the sickness, you can say. We have some big hitters, the biggest being this black square over there, being Black Death or the bubonic plague, but we also have like smallpox, Spanish flu, polio, Ebola, Zika virus. We have about 20 or so different viruses teaming up against the humans. So I'm very curious to see how this will play out. Obviously, these viruses, bacterium, they don't have a huge area except maybe bubonic plague, smallpox. But for the most part, they're just little red blips on the map. And they're placed on based on where they were seem to have originated. For example, many people suspect that the bubonic plague originated in Middle China, so it's in Middle China. Spanish flu, despite its name, first originated in Kansas, or that's where the first cases were found. So that's where they're located, is based on where they originated. Enough talking. Let's just see how this plays out. I'm not really worried about countries taking out each other too much. I'm not going to be really noting on that too much unless it's like the U.S. or whatnot. I'm mainly focused on how these viruses, this sickness, battles these other nations as well. So, like, for example, Kosovo was the first one conquered. Yellow fever conquered by Angola. See, I'm going to try to keep track of that. So yellow fever, they didn't last too long. They were blipped out. But I just kind of want to see how these nations fight each other and fight the viruses. So let's look around here. Of course, many nations are falling already, as typical early on in these simulations. But we want to see again what these viruses do and how these nations tackle the viruses, because none of these nations are aligned with each other. Only the viruses, only the sickness as one big thing is together. Polio was conquered by Egypt, though. So Egypt handling polio. Now they're battling smallpox, it looks like. We will see. Will Egypt be able to take out smallpox all by themselves? It looks like they will. So smallpox is gone. Already 3 of these 20 or so viruses are gone. Again, I don't know how this will be. You know, it could just be that these viruses don't have much of an impact, or it could be one spreads very rapidly and takes out people. Mexico just got conquered, actually, so that's gonna help. That's gonna help the swine flu, H1N1. So, oh, China just fell. So you're gonna see a lot of these diseases in the east, like the Black Death, SARS virus, COVID-19, and the Asian flu, H2N2. They're going to get kind of big, actually. See, I didn't know, something like that could happen. We have HIV and AIDS running rampant a little bit in Central Africa. Zika virus got a little big too, it looks like, because HIV and AIDS took out the Congo. Whooping cough was conquered by Italy. I think that was one of the only ones located in Europe. Ebola conquered by Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Zika just conquered by DRC as well. But then DRC conquered by HIV and AIDS. That was an interesting sequence. Yeah, I think there may be one more disease in, I think, France, and then there's one in the Middle East. See if I can click on it accurately. Yeah, MERS. MERS is out east, in the Middle East. we have the Black Death going against looks like Mongolia. See how they fare. Asian flu H2N2 is done. Russia took out the Russian flu. HIV and AIDS getting kind of big in Central Africa. We have these band of Eastern Asian sicknesses really teaming up, because I mean they are aligned with each other. That really helps. Hong Kong flu is one of them. Let's see. Does it have alliances? Yes. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's go back. Woo. Okay. Swine flu was conquered by Guatemala, so shout out to Guatemala taking out the only Central or South American disease we had in this simulation. Cholera conquered by India. India had a couple diseases, I believe, so they're taking care of their own. It really looks like the big problem either is going to be in Africa or Asia. This is where most of these viruses, diseases are that we have here. Hong Kong flu is conquered by Taiwan, actually, so there you go. But Taiwan just conquered by COVID, so that was short-lived. Valiant effort by Taiwan. So it looks like we have probably 4, 5, 6... Measles and rabies conquered by the U.S. So the U.S. is now taking out all these diseases within its borders. See if they can take out Spanish flu. That's the big one. Again, Spanish flu took out a lot of people in our history, in our own timeline. Spanish flu holding their own, though. They're getting that assistance from COVID. Because, you know, these viruses, these sicknesses, they have money. How do you think they travel? Hop on a plane for free? No, man, they're first class. We have Black Death really doing a number on Russia a little bit. Meanwhile, Spanish flu ate up a lot of the middle portion of the U.S. I think it's time to speed this up. We have less than 100 nations left already, which is kind of interesting. That kind of went by quick. Yeah, Black Death running rampant in eastern Russia right now. Greece just conquered by Egypt. Morocco gone by Spain. Germany gone by Austria. Just some of the other, less important war stuff going on. HIV and AIDS conquered by Burundi. Shout out to Burundi, doing all the work in Africa. There may not be any diseases left in Africa. I'm not too sure. I can't see that much. I don't want to zoom into... I'll zoom in a little bit. We can zoom in. See if there's anything going on. Yeah, I mean, you can see the big portions in East Asia. I don't think there's any diseases left in Africa or South America. But we have Spanish flu running rampant in the U.S. right now. All those flyover states getting sick as fuck. Alright, Myanmar just taken out by COVID. Man, this may be the simulation where COVID actually takes out the world. Yeah, if you like this simulation, if you like this scenario, definitely hit me with that like button. If it interests you, if this is something different you haven't necessarily seen too much, let me know. Show that support. Uh-oh. Looks like Mongolia really pushing hard against the Black Death. They've been like the biggest barrier between the Black Death and the rest of Asia, besides like the Himalayan mountains. In Russia, I guess. Russia's trying. Meanwhile, Spanish flu in the U.S. going at it again. Again, this is all these sicknesses coming together while the whole world is at war. So there is no country alliances. In this simulation, we don't wise up and go, maybe we should all team up against the viruses. No, we're all too stuck up with our heads up our own asses in this simulation. Every country fending for themselves against a coalition of sickness. Meanwhile, I didn't realize, I guess Canada was taken out a while ago, so the U.S. is kind of big. Now we're going against, what is that, going against Greenland. about 50 nations left, including the sovereign nations of sickness. Sovereign nations of sickness. I feel like that could be a band or something. Or like some weird club. The sovereign nations of sickness. Some weird metal club, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If y'all have a simulation or scenario in your head, definitely throw it out there in the comment section. I love seeing what y'all have to offer. And if it's something I think I could pull off that interests me too, I'm more than willing to throw it up here and make it happen. I'm very creative, you know. I could come up with a lot of stuff, but eventually I need some outside opinions. This wasn't my own idea, though. This was someone else's. So this is viewer suggested, so give you a little confidence to throw in your own suggestion. We only have about 39 nations left. U.S. got North America for the most part, but it looks like Costa Rica is trying to take out the U.S. while they're distracted with the Spanish flu. Brazil's got most of South America. Africa's pretty split up. We can just look at the statistics while all this is going on. Looking at the area, we got Russia, U.S., Brazil, Nigeria. Looking at economy, we have Russia, Brazil, Austria, United States, and over there in 9th place is COVID. COVID looking kind of wealthy, I guess. Meanwhile, we have, who is this? Uzbekistan taking out Russia. Okay. That's really going to help the fucking Black Death. That may have been a big no-no. Russia and Mongolia have been the biggest defenders of the Black Death, taking over Europe again. Oh, and Mongolia is going to fall. Oh, boy. Just seeing that big swath of black out east. Meanwhile, COVID-19 using all of its monies that it gained to help the Spanish flu fend off the U.S. Costa Rica gonna just creep around the Spanish flu area and try to take out the U.S., which moved its capital to, it looks like, Alaska. Somewhere in Alaska. Man, oh man, only 30 nations left. Long war, though. Long war, almost 200 years. Meanwhile, Costa Rica fending off Spanish flu a little better than the U.S. was doing. We have this eastern band of sickness collating with this Spanish flu out in the Americas, right? Meanwhile, Black Death, bubonic plague, really pushing into former Russian territory, moving around some of these mountain ranges. Oh man, Uzbekistan may have fucked everything up. Who is this? New Zealand. New Zealand with Indonesia took out Australia, so Australia is gone. India just conquered by Bhutan. We have some of these lesser known countries kind of representing over here in this war. Spanish flu, Black Death, and COVID-19, and I think the only other one is SARS. Kind of playing on the defensive now. They're not getting that aggressive. Guess these viruses aren't mutating as much. Maybe it's a vaccine, you know. This is like what's that one game? Plague Inc. Maybe we've hit a vaccine. Where are the bubbles at? Where are the bubbles to pop? Alright, been a hot minute before much of anything happened, but Bhutan was taken out by COVID. So that's something. The U.S. is still alive, but they're mainly on the most north... Fuck! They're mainly residing in the most northwestern portion of North America, which is mainly Alaska. Meanwhile, COVID taking out Indonesia just about. Spreading through all those islands in the Pacific. Black Death still can't fully get past the Himalayas, though. So I guess Uzbekistan actually doing all right. Kind of shitted on them a little bit earlier. Indonesia is going to fall any second now. New Zealand and COVID-19 both taking them out. Meanwhile, Turkey was conquered by Saudi Arabia, which has a good portion of the Middle East right now. Oh shit, I didn't even see whew, I didn't even see that the Spanish flu got conquered. Well, Spanish flu's gone. Good job, Costa Rica. Now they have their sights fully set on the U.S. So we just have these 3 Eastern Asian sicknesses left. COVID, SARS, and the Black Death. They're trying to figure out how they're going to take over the world together. Meanwhile, the rest of the world's still kind of bickering amongst themselves. Of course, the big question is, will humans prevail or will we be all down with the sickness? Well, this next country in Yemen, who has former India, is finding out and, get fucked. Meanwhile, Indonesia was formerly actually conquered. Nigeria conquered by Burundi, which is probably the biggest nation in Africa right now. Uzbekistan and the plague going with their every 20 years war as the Black Death tries to get past the Himalayas but still fucking can't. But, COVID's trying to get past it though. COVID's right on the edge of those Himalayas now, moving past a little bit. Brazil now swarming West Africa. Looks like they're going to take out... they got close to taking out someone. I don't know who it was. Yemen barely still alive. They got pushed out of the Middle East completely. Almost. They're residing in northwest India. Uh-oh. The bubonic plague and COVID have officially moved past the Himalayas. Interesting to see how that affects everything here soon. We have 14 nations left, 3 of them being sickness states. States of sickness. Ooh, that could also be a good metal band. State of sickness. That'd probably be more likely. State of sickness. Shit. Saudi Arabia conquered by COVID. Saudi Arabia is no more. New Zealand pushing back though. Pushing back. Uh-oh, bubonic plague running rampant. They're starting to really spread now. Uh-oh. I know Europe's shivering in their boots. The 2 nations that own Europe, which is Western Sahara and Austria. And then France, which owns Greenland, Iceland, and former England. I bet Brits are happy about that. Whoa. I don't know how that happened, but bubonic plague jumped borders or something. They are flooding into Austria, flooding into Eastern Europe. Kind of looking scary. I don't know if humans are going to survive, to be honest. I don't know if we can do it when we're all warring against each other, but that's the whole point. I think that's the only way these sicknesses would have a chance, is if we were all too focused on ourselves. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yemen, all of a sudden, splitting COVID in half. That's a big breakthrough. Meanwhile, Western Sahara collapsing as Costa Rica threatens to take them out. I think the U.S. got conquered a bit ago. I didn't even notice. R.I.P. to the U.S. Meanwhile, Austria fighting back the bubonic plague, kicking them out of Western Europe. Burundi conquered by Namibia. So Burundi has fallen. Uzbekistan gets a big push. Trying to push the bubonic plague back out of the Himalayas, but uh-oh. They may have moved too aggressively. Oh, just seeing that Black Death creep across the map. I mean, that's a nasty nasty sickness when you get called the Black Death. And you can just kind of visualize it, you know? It really messed up some Europeans back in the day. Way back in the day. But it looks like Uzbekistan getting pretty close to finally falling. New Zealand kind of pushing back COVID in the former Australia, Indonesia type area. Oh yeah, New Zealand, they're getting a boost. France looked like they may fall soon. They had to move their capital to Iceland. Austria pushing out Brazil a little bit from Africa, and they have some territory on Greenland and Iceland. Meanwhile, Uzbekistan, conquered by the Black Death, they have finally lost their many years' war against the bubonic plague. We have 10 nations altogether, including our 3 sickness survivors, or sickness stampeders. I don't know. But hey, New Zealand, they're really they're holding their ground now. They're on the offensive. Meanwhile, Costa Rica's on the offensive over in Africa and in Eastern Europe, Western Europe, I mean. Although Brazil's pushing them out of South America currently. Yemen's collapsing. The Sickness Coalition are teaming up against them. Yemen lost a good bit of territory. Meanwhile, the Black Death bubonic plague has entered the Mediterranean. Looks like COVID-19 and SARS just mutated into the Black Death as one big super virus. Call it the fucking super Black Death. I don't know. Ultra Black Death. The blackest of death. The booest of the bubonic plague. I don't fucking know. But all of a sudden, they looking big and massive. It's like blackout. It's like the Halo 2 servers. Nothing online. It's Costa Rica, Brazil, Austria, and Yemen and New Zealand against the bubonic plague. Brazil really trying to take it to Costa Rica, though. 2-pronged war front in North America. They've landed in Newfoundland, Canada, and they're flooding up the Mississippi as well. Meanwhile, bubonic plague has entered like Scandinavia country, trying to take out Austria. Austria's having to move capitals. Bubonic plague taking over Europe. History has repeated itself almost. A little part of former Portugal and Scandinavia is the only thing left in Europe. The rest is just darkness. Black death. It's also entered northern Africa as well. Oh no, Sri Lanka. Half of Sri Lanka's fallen to the Black Death. Costa Rica's gone. There's only 5 nations left, excluding Mr. Bubonic. Brazil, now sole controller of America pretty much. North and south. Got a little bit of Western Africa too. Austria's the next to fall. Bubonic plague gonna speed in there, beating Brazil to most of Greenland. Yemen has ran out of economy. It is not going to be good for the last stand of civilization. New Zealand's faltering too, big time. Our lives may all be in the hands of the Brazilians. And even then, they're struggling to push back the might of the Big Boo. The Big Boo. I swear. If they ended up calling the bubonic plague the Big Boo, oh man, humanity's already over. Let's stick with the Black Death. Usually I don't like these videos going over 30 minutes, but we have to know the outcome. Australia is almost completely darkened out. Bodies have hit the floor. Death has resided in the land down under, with a small portion surviving on the west coast. Actual New Zealand taken out. New Zealand is done. It's up to Yemen and Brazil. Uh-oh. The Black Death has kicked Brazil out of Africa and has landed officially in Canada. Just barely. Uh-oh. Yemen just collapsed. Yemen's done. Brazil's our last hope for humanity. Oh, you can see the bubonic plague traveling across the sea, taking out Madagascar as well. Oh, man. Alright, Brazil. Let's see what you got. You're humanity's last hope. Last hope. Nah. Humanity is going to fall. Again, I was like 10% on the side that the sickness would actually take over. I thought humanity would actually have it in the bag. But Brazil's about to fall, and here we are. The whole world's about to be black. Just got to get past these last few mountain ranges in South and North America, and it's all over. Where is... I don't even know where Brazil's capital is. But there you have it. The bubonic plague, the Black Death, has retaken the world on its next go-around. They couldn't do it last time around in the medieval ages, back in the Dark Ages, but they done it now. It only took them almost 1,000 years in a huge war, paired up with other formidable diseases such as Ebola, smallpox, polio, yellow fever, Spanish flu, H1N1, H2N2, COVID. But in the end, they were the last disease, the last virus standing, and humanity is officially down with the sickness. Well, if y'all like that scenario, let me know. It ended up running pretty long, but it was quite fascinating, and it ended up working a lot better than I actually thought it would. Very interesting. So hit me with that like button if you like this video. If you want to see more of these, subscribe and join the Southern Woods community. I do a lot of these type of videos along with food reviews, hunting and fishing videos as well. I'm not a one-trick pony. And again, hit me with some suggestions in the comments and you may just see yours being simulated on this channel. Without further ado, y'all, Southern Woods out.